It was recently announced that a new comic called Azula in the Spirit Temple will be released this September. The description states that Azula must confront her past and finally face her chance at redemption. When this was revealed, I saw a lot of people against the idea of Azula having a redemption arc. Many were saying she's too broken or too evil to fix. Also, who tweeted this? Because no one can actually think this, right? No one actually thinks that, right? Anyways, I decided to explain why I think Azula's character should have a redemption arc. Through many discussions, I discovered a tweet from Aaron Eaz, a former head writer of Avatar: The Last Airbender. In 2019, Aaron had tweeted saying, "I always intended for Azula to have a redemption arc." Below that, he has a short thread going into more detail, but before we dive into that, let's look at Avatar's themes and characters. One of the compelling themes of Avatar is the inevitability of change. There are many instances where characters are thrown into scenarios that challenge them, like Katara overcoming her rage fueled by vengeance, or how Sokka matured from the misogynist we saw from the beginning of the show.
Wait a second, there's no way a bunch of girls took us down.
A bunch of girls, huh?
I feel scenes like those are enough to show anyone can change, including Azula. Now, in order to figure out how they could develop her character, let's take a look at her family. Her brother Zuko's character arc is a fan favorite, and I think his character is the key to transforming Azula as a character. But first, let's look at who set Zuko on the right path. Uncle Iroh. When we learn more about Uncle Iroh's past, we see that he was like any other Fire Nation general who commanded vicious armies.
If the city is as magnificent as its wall, Ba Sing Se must be something to behold. I hope you all may see it someday. If we don't burn it to the ground first.
Unfortunately, when Iroh was commanding a siege on Ba Sing Se, his entire world flipped upside down when his own son died in battle. Iroh's lack of humanity caught up to him when the battle he initiated was the reason his son died. After abandoning the siege and Ozai taking the role of Fire Lord, Iroh took it as an opportunity to reflect on himself. Later on, Uncle Iroh sees Zuko as a son. Zuko is like a second chance for Iroh, and now Zuko gets the father figure he never had. As the show goes on, we see how complicated Zuko's identity is, and his own scar represents two different paths in his life. Iroh did a lot of bad things, but even he changed and was there to help Zuko struggle on his own path of identity. I bring this up because I think a lot of people forget that as much as we love Iroh and Zuko, they both have done a lot of bad things too. Being good or bad isn't black and white. Iroh has a lot of blood on his hands from war, and Zuko is willing to kill a child to get back his honor, or at least let an assassin do it. Back to Aaron's thread, he shares that Azula's arc would have been longer and far more complicated than Zuko's. She had not bottomed in the end of Season 3, she had further to go. At the deepest moment in her own abyss, she would have found Zuko. It seems Zuko was going to be the one to save Azula, similar to how Iroh saved Zuko, and I think that's where people get dismissive of the idea. It's true that not every villain needs to become a good guy, but I can see Azula as an exception that can offer something different. Rather than being repetitive, Azula differs because unlike Zuko having Iroh, Azula had no one. Because of her exceptional skill, Ozai was constantly praising her and pushing her, but he had led her down a horrific path of struggling to maintain perfectionism. In the episode Sozin's Comet, we see her finally break when being bested by Zuko in the last Agni Kai. To Azula, the issue with Zuko beating her is because she's supposed to be better, but now she failed to maintain her perfection, and now she has nothing. Aaron continues by explaining that, despite it all, her brother Zuko would be there for her, believing in her, sticking by her, doing his best to understand and help her hold her pain that she can no longer hold alone. Zuko, patient, forgiving, and unconditionally loving. All strengths he gains from Uncle Iroh. What's being stressed here is that it'd be a very slow and draining process for both characters, but it allowed the audience to see how much Zuko has grown as a person by using what he's learned. He relates to her struggles, even if they differ from his own. When people are suggesting Zuko should give up on her, I can't help but feel like they're not only dismissing the themes of the show, but they're also not sympathizing with her life. She's quite literally a child, 14 years old in the show and up to 17 in the comics. Ozai had such a tight grip on who she became, but now that he's locked up, she has a chance to figure out who she wants to be. Nobody's born evil, you are who you choose to be. To finish Aaron's thread, he continues by saying, that's how she would have gotten out, and changed. With the faith and love of someone she had hurt, but who stuck by her anyway. Just as he had been saved by faith and love from someone he had hurt, but who stuck by him. Sometimes you have to cut ties with people in your life. But what's different here is that Zuko knows how lost and confused she is. He knows that while it's going to be hard, he has the power to help her and it's the right thing to do. In a way, he's repaying the debt from when Iroh had to help him. Finally, the last part of the thread says, and I always imagined that after coming out the other side, she would be one of those people who hilariously overshares her own feelings all the time, and that she would be a bit over-apologetic, like a Canadian version of Azula. Overall, I feel it would have been a memorable arc, maybe even greater than Zuko's. To end things off, in the episode The Firebending Masters, Aang and Zuko discovered the last two dragons, Ron and Shaw. There's a lot of symbolism to them, as the two dragons resemble the Togaki, a symbol associated with Korean culture representing cosmic balance. The red half represents positive cosmic forces, and the blue half represents the opposing negative cosmic forces, very similar to yin and yang. In the show, the blue dragon represented Azula and foreshadowed Zuko's Agni Kai with her. For a hypothetical 4th season, an episode of Zuko revisiting the dragons with Azula would be a great finish to Azula's arc, showing two opposing forces finally joining together in balance. Anyways, that's the end of today's video. Hopefully I made a convincing case for Azula's redemption. If you have any thoughts or ideas, feel free to comment them down below. Also, it's a lot of work to make these videos, so like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. And anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.